to today's product briefing with Legal Tech Hub. Today, we're joined by Kanti Brabha of Sirion Labs. Kanti is co-founder and president of Sirion and one of my best friends in legal tech. Hey, Kanti, good to see you here.
Good to see you too, Jeroen.
Would you want to give us a little bit of background on Sirion Labs and what we'll be seeing today?
We recently went through our brand change and we are Sirion.ai now, which I feel is a true representation of who we are as an organization. We are an end-to-end contract lifecycle management system. We are designed for the largest companies in the world, but are very applicable to all sizes of companies who'd like to manage their contracts in the right way, use different forms of automation and AI as and where needed to create contracts, store contracts, and make sure that they have a view of these contracts end to end. Sirion is a company focused on its customer. Our key focus is always to keep innovating and keeping our customers at the center of the design and thought process.
And you're one of the 4 co-founders, right?
That is correct.
The others, Jay?
We have Ajay Agarwal, Claude Murray, Aditya Gupta, and myself.
You've recently acquired Eigen.
That is correct. It's 2 companies with very similar DNA, thought process, and love for AI that are coming together. Eigen extends the Sirion capabilities from not just contract AI to document AI. And the teams coming together will expedite our AI roadmap in a way that we couldn't imagine. So it's very interesting times ahead for all of us.
And what do you want to focus on today?
Sirion is a very comprehensive lifecycle management system. And what I'd like to do, given the 5 minutes of demo, is to give you a view of contract management from start to finish, but also focus on some of the latest innovations that we've been doing focused on the AI space and how it changes how contract management has been done thus far. So I think that would be the focus of the demo today. We're doing a live demo today, so that's always fun.
The best.
They're the best, definitely. So we're going to go through one slide just so that, we orient ourselves and then we'll jump right into the application. Very quickly, we look at CLM as the 5th system of record. ERPs, P2Ps, CRMs, and HRMS systems. This is the 5th system which hosts all contracts, which are true representations of all business transactions we do. And for one to effectively manage these business transactions as written as contracts, one needs to make sure that these contracts are stored effectively at the right level of granularity and broken down into data so that this data can then give you intelligence about what you've already signed. The ability to then effectively create better, stronger, sharper, more secure contracts falls under the create contracts business outcome. And the last is each of these contracts are being signed for a reason. And these contracts should be managed at the right level of granularity depending on size and complexity to make sure that the full value of the contract is derived to both parties. Now, Sirion is equally supports buy-side and sell-side contracts, and most of our customers look at the system as a single source of truth for all type of agreements that they sign. It doesn't matter which department is initiating that particular contract. So we're going to jump right in. We're going to start from what somebody who has an interest in contracts at an executive level would start to see. This is the Sirion platform. The left-hand side represents store, create, and manage. So this is where you store your contracts, create your new contracts, and then manage in deep all the contracts that you already have. The view that you're seeing right in front of you is a custom view that you can create or can be built for you depending on the role that you play and the core interest today. For example, I'd like to understand, let's say I'm looking at my sell-side contracts. Who are my top customers? Where are they geographically spread? What is the total value of these contracts? The type of services or products being provided in them, key terms and conditions that are important to me, like cost of living adjustment, and so on and so forth. And these widgets are a drop in the ocean of how much data the system comes with. And you can pick and choose different views, different ways in which you can see the platform. And depending on who you are within the organization and your role, the system provides a completely different perspective of how to look at contracts. This is, once the entire magic happens, this is your outcome. How does the magic happen? So the first step is to be able to take a bunch of contracts that our customers have. Let's say you have 500,000 contracts or 100,000 contracts or 1,000,000 contracts. To all those contracts, the first step is for them to get digitized, for them to get broken down into different components. And these could be English contracts, non-English contracts, depending on whichever is the language or the type of agreement. The contract is then broken down into its underlying components. Now, Sirion uses small language models, medium language models, and large language models effectively and together. So problems which are better solved by small language models would remain with small language models, and then provides a layer of large language model application on each of the capabilities that you will see today. For example, the ability to very quickly see, okay, where's the assignment clause? Okay, here's the assignment clause. And then the ability to go to that part of the agreement and look at, where your clauses sit. The second is clauses are still okay, but you still need to read this. So breaking each clause down into a known set of outcomes. For example, what is the audit frequency, right? The ability to go identify that very specific outcome and present that back, and hundreds of such outcomes which come from, with the AI. And then not just look at contracts from a perspective of knowing what are the clauses and metadata, which are generally single dimensional objects, but then be able to break this contract completely down into who needs to do what. What are the tasks that the supplier needs to do? What are the tasks that the customer needs to do? The entire contract is then represented as a form of tasks that are presented here. And to the extent there are service levels, other forms of tables present in the platform, everything gets extracted here. Now, this is the power of small language models. Now, let's say I now want to have a free-form conversation with this particular contract, and I want to ask questions which are not just tell me the payment term or tell me the limitation of liability value, but I want to ask harder problems. What are the key risks for the customer in this contract? Or stuff which is not straightforward, it's not written somewhere, but it is an interpretative, inferential outcomes. So immediately the system comes back to you and says the key customers' risks are delayed in software delivery, inadequate training, the ability to change the scope may cause delays, intellectual property issues may happen because the rights may not fairly and squarely sit with the customer here. And the ability then to go above and beyond the power of what small language models could do and go into, and this is extremely effective. Let's say a new regulation comes in. You may not have a small language model in place, but you can immediately ask the system for what are the key InfoSec requirements mentioned in this contract. And the system comes back to you with its interpretation of something which then can feed into a DORA regulation, which all companies now need to commit to starting January 2025. So the idea is to give a natural language, very easy to use, business-friendly interface in order to interpret a contract which is generally complex to a form of language and conversation which is much more easier to absorb and increases your understanding of contracts themselves.
Would you ever sell this as an independent module, just this piece, or is it all part of the Sirion end-to-end solution?
So it's a great question. Firstly, the entire product in itself is modular. So every one of these modules can be bought separately. Anything related to generative AI can be bought bundled in or as a separate SKU as well, depending on the appetite of the customer and what their current needs are. So extremely granular, can be completely broken down. Okay, now that the contract has been broken down into how do you manage this contract? there are three parts to a contract. One is all the tasks in the contract, everything, all the to-dos in the contract, if you will. So the ability to know who needs to do what. And each of these obligations belong to different categories. They have different owners, different frequencies. And that completely unstructured document that we just saw, now with just a few inputs in terms of dates and owners, becomes a view which is so powerful, where you can see, okay, which tasks are happening, which tasks are pending, how is each element and each obligation type being dealt with in this particular agreement. So it really has a very strong correlation directly with taking a completely unstructured document, making it completely structured, and helping you manage it. Now, obligations are still objective measures but still need human intervention. Service levels render themselves to deep forms of computation, and Sirion does not just store the service level outcome, it actually computes the outcome from underlying raw data sources coming in from a ServiceNow or other forms of systems that hold service level raw data. And it does not just tell you if the service level was not met, it will look at the credit clause in the contract and it will tell you, because the service level was not met, this is the penalty the supplier owes back to the customer. And that's really where it's a full service outcome, where it's not just a system of record for a few tasks, but it's actually helping you manage these contracts end to end. And that also reflects in not just service level credit computation or penalty computation, but anything that you're managing end to end, all line items in the invoice get interrogated and computed by the system, letting you know that your invoice is correct, not correct, what is the rate to be applied, why is the rate incorrect that the supplier has put in, and so on, and gives you that end-to-end view of how much money is saved or where all leakage could have happened if the invoice was not interpreted correctly. So the idea very much is to be a deep end-to-end contract governance system as opposed to doing basic and light contract governance. And that reflects in the way the contract is broken down into its underlying components in the first place. So that piece is deep contract governance. So we started with completely unstructured documents, broke them down, and then started managing them end to end. Now let's change from store, manage to create. Each organization has its own templates, has its own clause libraries, playbooks. The system has a very robust mechanism of storing each of these clauses, templates, playbooks. And that is what comes or helps you negotiate contracts better. Also, all the intelligence being gathered on the AI side is fed into the authoring process. So now actually let's get into the authoring process immediately. What you see here is a document that is currently being authored. The first time a document comes in, instead of this user stepping in, the system does its first review. The system looks at the document, says, okay, this document, when I look at my clause library, when I look at my playbook, my negotiation playbook, there are a bunch of problems. I have identified 5 issues. These issues are related to vulnerability, audit rights, background checks, service level reporting, and subcontracting, outsourcing. Immediately, your next question is, okay, what are the issues? Let's go ahead and look at it. And the system takes this document and it immediately takes you through the entire process of saying, okay, this particular document has multiple problems. Let's get into what each of these problems are. So the first thing is it's telling you, okay, there are problems with service level reporting. What is the problem? It'll actually explain that to you, and explainability is super important here. You absolutely want to know what are the key problems with service level reporting that the system has identified. So it's telling you, okay, and it also gives you reference to the playbook. It says, if the supplier does not provide a minimum annual written performance report, that's not acceptable. And it's not trivial as 30 days becoming 60 days. It's true rules and regulations, internal or external, that need to be met. And so the system explains that here is a clause where my playbook is not being met and there is no explicit obligation for an annual report. And so the system goes ahead and makes a red line, because earlier the red line was upon request by customer, which is not acceptable, and it actually inserts the right language, the right frequency, and the right cost consideration, and surgically redlines this agreement. And this paragraph has multiple problems, not just one. So it fixes the next problem as well, which is upon customer demand, if one asks for additional information, that needs to be provided within 30 days, which was missed in this particular agreement. So it's a system that provides 100% explainability why any change is being made by the system and allows users then to take over and make additional changes.
And can you insert comments towards the counterpart?
Absolutely. So all the standard capabilities of editing are made available right here. And so the ability to edit, the ability to comment, the ability to collaborate, all of those come along with this capability, included into the broader scheme of things, included into the broader workflow where once this contract is generated, what is the next step and the next step, all of those are maintained in the same. So how can an English language playbook, an English language instruction explained in English, but then the red lines happen in another language? So the idea is very much not just to stop at English, because that's the key focus right now, but also see how the power of generative can help us with non-English language as well, given a good percentage of Sirion customers Europe and in languages around the world.
Thank you so much, Kanti. That was a fantastic demo, and I'm sure our viewers will have learned a lot from that. We will publish a link at the bottom of the demonstration to the Sirion website for any further questions. And thank you again, Kanti. As always, a pleasure to talk to you and see the power of Sirion. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Iron.